Yeah, I think, the thing about the class cumulatively is that no one needs me to tell them that this was a challenging year from a lot of different perspectives, and recruiting was no exception to that rule. And we're very fortunate as a program that we were able to rely on some very strong relationships and connections throughout the youth soccer community within Indianapolis and Indiana as a whole, and with alumni at major clubs and alumni that run ODP, we were able to identify a group of student athletes that we were very confident, based on those recommendations, that they were going to fulfill what we want from a student athlete, which is essentially a young man that's going to be willing to commit to the relentless pursuit of excellence as a student, as an athlete, and as a person. And I'm very confident that we've got that in each of the 6 individuals. And I think, for one of them, as you mentioned, Tyler Gaynor, he's returning to the program as a graduate transfer after having left after his freshman year to go to Temple. And we were already confident in that, and it's actually quite cool to see him come full circle, right? When somebody transfers your program, it's always a little bit of a bittersweet thing, but ultimately, when you know it's best for them to do what they need to do and ultimately accomplish what college is for, right? To grow as a person. Tyler's done just that, and he's going to bring some fantastic maturity into our program and help us continue to drive that culture forward with that. And so he's the exception there, but the 5 true freshmen in terms of our relationships with Jerry Little at North Central High School and Indy Phoenix, and Van Gaal Nikovsky is one of the best soccer players in IUPUI program history, runs Millennium Soccer Association up in Northwest Indiana, and then Todd Shealy is an alum, is the director of ODP, and then Joel Chalkley, who is one of the lead directors and coaches at Indy Premier, an alum as well. Between those people, we were able to rely on those relationships to identify the remaining core freshmen and bring them in and know that we're going to get good soccer players, but ultimately we're going to get young men that are committed to being students, athletes, and people, and that's awesome for us. Yeah, I think, for 2 of them in particular, it's a little bit unlucky. They've come down with some injuries in the last 2 to 4 weeks that we found out about, and so for those 2 in particular, and Josemir Gomez and Gavin Kinsella, it's going to be a question mark. It's going to be a day-to-day thing in terms of what we're able to expect from them, but nonetheless, it's going to be great to bring them into the family and ultimately assimilate them into what is life like as an IUPUI student athlete. So when they overcome that injury and they go through the entire return to play protocol, they're ready to rock and go from there. I think the other person in that mix is Ecris Revolorio. He is coming to us from Indiana Fire Juniors MLS Next Academy, whatever we're calling that today, and he's a player who is really going to be on the top end of true, just pure soccer ability amongst any player on our team. And so I'm excited about him getting into the group and him bringing a little bit of a different flavor to the game relative to what we have across the board. So I'm excited about him. And then we've got Luke Lonneman, who's going to be a freshman from Indy Premier, and he's a young man that's just going to add depth to the goalkeeper core, right? We've got 2 fantastic goalkeepers, as Jaguar fans saw all season long, over the course of the time, with both Quinn McCallion and Lucas Moorfield getting big time minutes. And I think Luke is very measured in his approach and understanding that he's been in an environment where he's had to be the understudy, so to speak, of some older goalkeepers that have more talent right now today, but he understands how to slide into that role, but then also push the envelope, create some competition within that group, and then ultimately learn to then eventually put himself in a position where he's ready to take over that spot. So I'm excited about his attitude and mentality from that standpoint. And then you have Afam Oniah, who also is a teammate of Gavin Kinsella's from Munster High School and Millennium Soccer Association, and he's an absolute just elite athlete, right? When we look at getting recruits at IUPUI, typically in one way, shape, or form, we're not getting that complete athletic package where this person is a lights out 5-star athlete and they're a lights out elite soccer player. Usually we're picking and choosing as we go across that metric from that standpoint, and Afam definitely brings an elite level of athleticism, but we've got to work hard to clean up the soccer side of things with him and get him to understand how important that technical component is. But he's going to be able to come in and develop as a left back for us and be able to do something going forward in the attacking standpoint. Yeah, I think it's an exciting opportunity for us as a program. I think that for a myriad of different reasons over the course of my first few seasons in charge at IUPUI, we haven't been solidified and certain on who is playing in that top group of 15 to 17 players, right? And I feel like coming into this season, we're going to have the largest roster we've ever had at 32 people. We're also more solidified in that group of 15 to 17. That doesn't mean that there's not room for movement. That doesn't mean that somebody's outside of that group of 17 can't get into it, or somebody that's in it can't get out of it. Obviously, those things are going to happen over the course of the season, but being able to approach preseason in a mindset that says, we're really happy with the group of young men that we have in the program. We're really happy with how they're adapting to things on the field, and we absolutely couldn't be happier about what they're doing to drive program culture forward off the field, in the classroom, and in the community. I think that sets the stage for us to accomplish what we believe we can on the field, which no one needs me to tell them we haven't done to date, right? We haven't done that in any stretch of the imagination, but I do feel like our off-field results are an indicator of where we're headed, and I think that having had a group of players here for 4 years, now going into their 5th year, guys going into their 4th year, so on and so forth, that long-term opportunity for them to build and grow within the program and what we're trying to accomplish just has us better prepared to do what we want on the field.